but I would say I most use contacts and Smartplans.
Cool. So contacts and Smartplans and send some Facebook ads. So you'll be giving us an array of spectacular information.
Absolutely.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Glad to see you. Where's my friend Bogdan? There he is.
I'm right here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Here to discuss same thing, campaigns and Smartplans, and how I'm using the campaigns to the lead gen and Smartplans to put them on path.
Excellent. 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 So we're going to have lots of good information for you on those tools. And do I see Rudy on the call? Where's my friend Rudy? Don't see him on the call, so we may have to give him a little time to jump on. So why don't we dive in and start? Where do you guys want to start? Oh, Stephen, are you part of our panel today as well?
No, I'm not, Rick.
Oh, okay. Well, I love you anyway. I just saw that you unmuted, so I thought maybe I missed a text on that. So let's talk a little bit about where do you want to start? Where's the right place to start, Marissa and Bogdan, in terms of how you're using these tools to create opportunity and create closings for yourselves? Is there a logical place to start to then step through the conversation, starting with contacts, going through Facebook ad campaigns, and then how you're following up with Smartplans? Does that make does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so why don't we start there? Marissa, why don't you take us through that?
Well, I guess even since my inception as a real estate agent and at KW, having like the database was like absolutely key for me. An Excel spreadsheet was not good enough. I mean, that's nice that you can put people's names down, but it doesn't help. It doesn't help organize the information well enough. So every person that I talk to like goes in the database, like a rental lead, like someone I met, who handed me their business card out of random, every open house person, they go in there. And that also goes for the Facebook leads, which obviously naturally get captured. And just having that is huge. And the one thing, if I do one thing when the person enters the database, is that I put them on my quarterly call smart plan. I think that was an auto-generated one by Facebook, or maybe I created it, but it's super simple. It literally just says, call this person once every 3 months. So at the very least, I'm going to call them once every 3 months. That's like my foundational level.
So just to recap, it sounds like you're using the CRM version portion of Command to simply remind you who you have to call to make sure that you're following up with all the right people, to make sure that no one's listing their house or going to buy a property without you knowing about it.
That's how I've always done it. And Command does it really well. And
so Bogdan, how do you use contacts? In a similar way?
Yeah, everybody that I meet goes into the contacts, and depending on their needs, I assign them a certain smart plan. So let's say I need to nurture them, I assign a nurture. I know, it's something that they want to do tomorrow, I do safe searches, so on.
So can you talk a little bit about, and then we're going to cycle back to what Marissa said about putting them on that plan. Talk about saved searches. How is that working for you with your contacts? What does that mean, and how is it working?
I'm not that satisfied with the command save searches. I liked, I don't want to be too negative. I like better the edge ones because it gives you a broader search when. With the safe searches in command is more about the next door neighborhoods. And if you're not familiar with the area, that could be a little bit weird. So I try to pinpoint what they exactly want to buy, or if they're selling So I try to, for buyers, the safe search, I have to make it a little bit broader. So they can also add, that's the beauty. They can add the neighborhoods.
Got it. Got it. Debbie, is there anything you want to add to the CRM use and what Marissa and Bogdan are speaking to?
Yes. So what I would say, and if you ask me, I love Facebook campaigns and I love Smartplans as follow-ups. My bread and butter, as it were, is the CRM and opportunities. And when you're using the opportunities function for all of your transactions, what you want in your CRM is all of the closing parties who are going to be a part of it. It's not just your leads, it's not just your prospects, it's your attorneys and inspectors and bankers and anybody who's going to be a part of your transaction you want in your CRM.
So it's building a database not just out of potential clients or past clients or friends or family, it's business contacts as well.
Correct. And if you're going to start someplace, you start with those prospects and pieces of business and your past clients, and then your transaction parties, and then don't forget other agents, because you want to maintain a database of agents, local agents and agents all over the country. But that's not first. I would do that after I had a good solid sphere and past client database.
Yeah, so one of the reasons that we're asking folks to talk a little bit this morning about something that seems a little bit basic from the perspective of putting your contacts in and building out the contacts and CRM portion of this tool, is that what we're finding in our tech one-on-ones is that folks are arriving for a lesson in running Facebook ad campaigns or running Smartplans, and finding out that this basic step hasn't been done, so the CRM portion hasn't been filled out. And a lot of the higher level discussions we're going to have today on campaigns and Smartplans and follow-up and whatnot are unable to really be launched if you don't have your CRM built, right? Because you need to attach them to people. So that's part of why we're starting today with something that maybe seems like, well, duh, have a database. I understand that, and yet what we're finding is it's a little less duh than we thought, right? So the idea of building this database, even if you've never run your business via a CRM before, remember that this is a step to the higher level tools. It's also, as Marissa said, she's never not run her business that way. It's a foundational tool to help you organize your business and make sure that you're connecting with everyone the way you need to connect to them. And it's a required step in order to participate in the discussion and the use of these higher up tools.
I'm going to put in a shameless plug for something that we're starting next week that Rick is going to talk about in Ignite tonight. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 o'clock, I'm going to be available for 30 minutes to add to some of the functionality of these various applets. And we're going to start with the CRM and adding contacts and categorizing them and managing them through Command in the way that Command has enabled us to do, because it's frigging amazing. And
Yeah, the custom tags are fabulous.
Well, and beyond custom tags, it's custom views and custom smart views and all of the blendings that you can do with it. You're right, Marissa. That's it's crazy awesome. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, beginning next Tuesday, 4 o'clock.
Yeah, so do plug into that. That's not just for Ignite students, it's for anyone who wants for additional conversation and work on these tools. So guys, let me ask this. With all the customization that is now available, what would you say for people who say, well, I don't like the way the CRM works? I've been using Top Producer, or I have my Excel spreadsheet. I don't like the way it looks, or I don't like the way it works. Knowing there's so much customization that can now happen, how would you answer that objection?
If somebody said they didn't like how it looked, like it wasn't easy on the eyes, I mean, I don't know what to say to that. But if someone said like, I don't like how it functions, I would like ask them more about that, because it functions how you design it to function. Right? Like all the way from like what smart plan you build, that, who you add to the smart plan. When you're in opportunities, you can even add like tasks for yourself that literally you add the task that you want done. So, if you're in a certain phase, like, the appraisal phase, let's say, you can create your own little task list of what you want to be done in every transaction. So then when you bring, Betty Sue over into the appraisal phase, all of a sudden now you have 4 tasks that you wrote that are the standards in your business. So if somebody's feeling like they don't like how it's set up, I would encourage them to, plug into every video, Scott Leroy or Marty Miller, and just sit there and pause the video as you go and build it how you want it to be, because that's what I've enjoyed about it. Every time I'm literally building it as I go. So if I think something needs work, when I put a client into that next phase, I'm like, oh man, this task thing that I haven't even built this. So I'll take like the moment to add the few tasks that I know should be done. So then the next time I bring somebody into that phase, like it'll be set up for me. If that makes sense.
My comment would be, Command has already left Top Producer in the dust. Top Producer is a totally static format, and this is a totally active and dynamic format. And it's beyond anything that Top Producer ever thought of doing. And I've been a Top Producer, I don't know what, devotee for 30 years. So.
Yeah. Oh, well, sucks to be Top Producer. 30 years.
In the dust. In the dust. Yes.
I would
And as
like to
Marissa
add,
said, it's totally customizable. You can do anything with agents, with past clients, anything, and it's all in one place.
Yeah. What else, Bogdan?
everyone should start with the dashboard, because that's where you can customize pretty much what your interests are. Let's say your interests are leads. You want to see the leads, you put the leads up. Your tasks are your interests, now, since Mega Camp, the first thing when I open my computer is Command, and I go on the dashboard and look under the tasks and see how many leads I got, and who do I have to call, who do I have to put on a smart plan, who do I have to text. Now you can find the smart plans that other people build, so that's a new feature, and you can customize them. Just make sure when you download, you customize it to yourself, so you don't send your name and then their phone number and their email address. It's not that professional to have Bogdan Stefani, then Rick's number and Rick's email address. So be careful, look through twice, measure twice, cut once.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So it sounds to me like the consensus is, well, from Marissa, we got, if you don't like the way it looks, get over it, right? If you don't like the way it functions, well, then just simply change the way it functions, right? That's what I'm hearing from these folks who are using it. If you don't like the way it functions, you have the power to change how it functions to suit you and your business. Guys, that was the whole point of an agent-designed platform, to give us all the flexibility to run things the way we, there's 40 people on this call. We each run our businesses slightly different. This tool allows you to run your business the way you want to run your business and customize this technology to assist you in doing that.
One of the things that I resisted at first was that first page, as Marissa says, because it didn't do what I wanted it to do. because you can customize it, just this last week, I made yet another fine tune on my front page such that when the information that I see across the first page includes the zip code on their primary address. So I only have to open one screen to be able to interact with them like that. And it's 100% what you want it to be.
Yeah, love that. So again, if you take nothing else away from our time together in this first 15 minutes or so, is that the idea of operating from a CRM, right? The idea of operating from that database assists you in not only running the business effectively and efficiently, as Bogdan said, it remembers for you when you just build in those tasks, and then you heard him say he wakes up every morning and doesn't run to his email. He runs into command to say, who do I have to touch today? What do I have to do today? And how do I have to follow up? Right. So he doesn't have to remember anymore. I don't know about the rest of you, but every day older I get, the harder that is to do effectively. So right now there's technology to assist me in remembering the things I have to do to run my business efficiently and effectively.
Yeah, I've kind of taken on this perspective with Command that I want Command to be my virtual assistant. I want to wake up every morning and have a to-do list. Like if I had an assistant in person, I wouldn't be checking my email. I would have a call list in the morning to do. After that, I would have a list of tasks that need to be accomplished by the end of the day, and then I would go home. That would be my dream world. So what do I got to do to make Command function like that? Because it has the ability. I think there was something sold in the beginning that Kelly, you'd be able to talk into your phone and it'll be amazing and the AI is going to be wow, and maybe it hasn't quite lived up to that. But if you sit down inside Command, you really could build something that you don't have to think half as much during the day. If I could do that, that's awesome.
And what I would say is that the AI portion of this hasn't lived up to the hype yet, because there's not enough people using the other tools at a consistent enough level to allow the AI to access that data to give the insights that the AI was actually built to do, right? So if you think Kelly is a little bit lame, part of the reason Kelly's a little bit lame for you is because she doesn't have enough data, because you haven't given her enough data. You're not utilizing the tools at a high enough level so that she can look in there and say, hey, you know what, you better call this person because you haven't called this person in at least 6 months. And statistically, they may be looking to sell their home or buy a property, right? That's where all this is going. But you've got to play the game at levels 1, 2, and 3 before you can actually have R2D2 following you behind doing your work for you.
A thought that I had just a moment before this question was that I think foundationally, people are resistant to working out of a CRM. And so they come up with different excuses like, oh, I can't figure out the Smartplans, or, oh, I don't know how, I don't like how it looks, because they're just, resistant to the idea of having a database and working out of the database, like in creating an actual CRM. They have old patterns or habits that they just don't want to change. And I think that's the biggest roadblock for people. We could talk all day about how great Smartplans are and Facebook leads are, but what's the freaking point if people are like, I like my Excel spreadsheet, I'm good. There's no point. You have to buy in. It will help.
Yeah. So Marissa, tell us how you really feel about that.
Let me tell you, it's like, if one more person tells me like, oh, gee, I can't figure it out, I'm just gonna use my Excel sheet, I'm like, okay, bye. I walk away because I don't know what to tell you. You have to buy into it.
Yeah, it's good advice. It's good advice. Anything else on the CRM? Go ahead, Deb.
But you don't have to buy into the entire thing. You buy into what you feel comfortable with and add as you go.
Yes.
Yeah, agreed. And the other thing I'll say is, part of what holds people back is that it looks like this, right? It looks like this huge, enormous task, right? People are talking about Smartplans and designs and Facebook leads and campaigns and opportunities and commissions and CRMs and Twilio and Fallio and Bingio and Wackio and right, all these different things. So what if you decided to just start at the beginning, right? start at the beginning, set up all the applets, connect what has to be connected and make sure your database is in there, and then start building the custom database so that you have access to your people the way you want and need to have access to them. And then take the next step of, I'm going to learn the next one thing. Maybe I'm going to learn about Smartplans. Right now, I do want to move into Smartplans, and I see Jeannie has unmuted. So give me half a second, Jeannie. I want to move into Smartplans. And so while Jeannie's asking her question or making her comment, for those of you who are utilizing those Smartplans, and I know, Dan, you're using them pretty consistently as well. So feel free to chime in on the Smartplan conversation. The idea of what you use Smartplans for, right? We're not going to teach you how to use Smartplans today. We're going to talk with you about how some of these folks are using them at a high level to create business opportunities. Jeannie, what do you have?
So just my first question is, I'm one of the top producer junkies, that I've been a junkie for 10 years. And when the pandemic hit, I was doing Facebook ads and putting stuff on Instagram, and then I stopped. So my question is, I have, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000 in top producer. I clearly need to pivot. So this is really a question for Debbie, is what's literally my first step? Is it me putting each person in? Do I hire someone to take my database and put it, like, how do I begin? Because clearly I need to move on from top producer.
So people who are using any kind of CRM or have a database of any size, a large part of the process is getting that database cleaned up. And one of the pieces of it, I was talking to someone not in real estate, not talking about Command or top producer or any of that, just a generic business database. And we were talking about moving to a new platform. He said out loud, oh yeah, cleaning up the database is step number one. So make sure you've got them grouped properly with good tags on them. And then what I would do is, don't do it yourself. It's not your wheelhouse at all. But hire somebody to move them by category or by group, and make sure they're right in Command, and then do the next group. So do it in chunks. Don't do the whole thing. The biggest mistake that I made, and I made it already 18 months ago, was moving my whole market leader database into Command. And it was agents and internet leads and past clients, and it didn't move well. So chunk it down and move in parts.
So are you saying, like, past sellers in 2020, I do that group first?
I would take a small group and do that first so that you can kind of get the gist of it, and then do the next. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, and if I'm not mistaken, and someone correct me if I'm misspeaking here, in terms of hiring someone, I think we've already done that for you. I think that Scott Leroy is kind of on retainer for both market centers and is able to sit and have a conversation with you around what you want to move and get you through that moving process. Diane just put the email address for who you would contact, support@Scott Leroy Marketing. Thank you, Diane, for putting that in the chat box. Right, so you can contact them and say, here's what I want to do. I want to chunk my database down, or I only have 120 people, so I'm just going to kind of move it from where it is to Command, and they'll kind of step you through the process. Sometimes depending on where your stuff is, they may give you a task to complete before they move it, to make sure things are written this way, tagged that way, in this format, and then it's a simple move. So do engage with them because they're already set up to be able to do that for you. You don't have to worry about doing that yourself.
Yeah, they've been doing a great job with that. Many of our agents have actually been using them more recently, to get things in. They will go through it and clean up. Like, it's essentially just Excel spreadsheets, but they'll walk you through, depending on what CRM you're currently using. They'll walk you through how to export it, how to tag things. how to separate out how to group, like export the contacts in groups or however you need to do it based on which CRM you're using, to get the cleanest version of it in Command on the back end. And they'll do a lot of that work for you. So it really is that is a service that we pay for, and it is not utilized nearly enough. So please, if you have any questions, reach out to your agent services or your team leaders, and Scott Leroy can certainly help you with that.
And if there are any do-it-yourselfers, there is an export spreadsheet that you can use. And when you go up to the export or import my database, it will open up that spreadsheet for you, which you can fill from your other database. There's also PySync. There are a lot of different ways to sync and upload databases into Command. But the simplest is let somebody else do it for you.
Yeah, especially if it's not going to cost you a dime to have somebody else do it, right?
And the advantage of adding in small groups is then you can customize those groups to your custom tags already in Command.
Yeah, and
by bulk.
And it's like eating an elephant, right? How do you eat an elephant? Right, one bite at a time. And so when you're doing it small, you can focus on those small bites, get them to where you want them to be, and then move on to the next thing, instead of, again, moving a huge thing in and figuring out, oh, I have to go through and click on all these different people and whatnot. So let's take the next step forward. Thank you, because all that is such great information. We appreciate those tidbits and insights from those of you who have gone before and dared to leap out of the plane and knit your parachute on the way down. You're all clearly very, very fast knitters, right? Because nobody crashed and burned. So that's impressive. So starting with Marissa and Bogdan, talk to us a little bit about what you're using Smartplans for, and Debbie and Dan, if you can also be on tap for telling us what you use Smartplans for, because I know you're all using them for slightly different things. Marissa and Bogdan, why don't you kick us off with that conversation?
Ladies first.
Well, as I previously mentioned, the number one thing I add every person to, is the quarterly call. And then everything else like that everything after that is like more specific to what kind of transaction I think will become from it. So like a Facebook lead, I built 2 different Facebook lead follow-up smart plans, one for what I assume are buyers and one for what I assume are sellers. And the biggest thing there is that the first step is a phone call, and almost every step after that is a text message. And there's like another phone call mixed in there. And I found that people respond to those text messages and I'm not actually texting it, it's Twilio. But if you don't want to set up Twilio, you don't even have to go that far. You can just set a reminder in the smart plan to text this person. They respond and engage with the text message far more than my phone call and voicemail. And then if I think it's a seller or they might sell down the line, I always set them up with the monthly or the biweekly neighborhood snap. They didn't really have, when I moved from eEdge to Command, previously I was relying on the 33 touch to do everything for me, which had phone calls in it. It had like a flyer in it. And I thought that was great and dandy, but I realized that it wasn't very specific at all. So they didn't have a 33 touch, or maybe they did, but I didn't really like it. That was in Command. So I'll custom add the smart plan that I think is appropriate for the lead, so that at least they're getting something, somewhat relevant to what their interest may be. Once a month from me, a phone call, a text, a neighborhood update. And then
let me stop you there a second.
Yeah.
Because the first thing I wanted to mention is I realized we didn't define smart plan. So I just put that in the chat. For me, a smart plan is really just an automated action plan, right? So for those of you who are thinking, okay, tell me, what is this smart plan you speak of, right?
Yeah.
It's just an automated action plan.
Yeah,
And
because they come up as like those to-do tasks, which when I was using eEdge, I literally would just put in a to-do task for every single thing that I had to do. Like, oh, I got to call this person in a week. So I would like set a task, and I was spending a lot of time setting tasks. But now the Smart Plan sets the tasks for me. So I just have to go into my tasks. It says, here's what you got to do today. And they've already been added for me, going back to that like virtual assistant thing. It's just one less thing for me to do, and it helps me stay on top of every lead that goes in there.
So you mentioned neighborhood nurture, and I want to just ask a question to Marissa or anyone. Is the neighborhood nurture its own smart plan, or do you put neighborhood nurtures inside of other smart plans?
No, it's its own smart plan. But there's a really cool feature with Smart Plans where, say you have like a new contact and you want to like, call this person, what is it, like the 10 days of pain, the 8 days of pain, you want to call them every day for like the first week that you know them. And then, the relationship didn't really kick off, but to keep in contact with them at the end of that Smart Plan, you can add something that says that will automatically add them to a different Smart Plan for long-term follow-up. So you could call them, and then boom, they're automatically added to neighborhood nurture. So now every month they'll hear from me and I don't have to think about it.
And all you have to do to make that launch is have them have a neighborhood. You do have to put a
They do have to have a
neighborhood.
neighborhood.
Mhm.
Even if
And
you don't
that
have their
you manually,
address,
no.
if you have some sort of idea of where they live or where they're looking, you can give them something generic.
Yeah, I love the idea of connecting smart plans like that. That's kind of cool, right?
And the beauty is you can put 100 smart plans for each contact.
Yeah.
Whatever you think you're not limited to just one. You can do
And several. And
start
several
with one,
neighborhoods.
then you add.
I will say this, you want to be careful about adding people to too many smart plans though, because unless you're really keeping track of the dates
What
that
they're
things
getting.
go out and the timelines and when you've added people, it can start doubling up really quickly. All of a sudden now they're getting like a text message from you like every day or you know what I mean? Like, so you want to be careful about having too many smart plans that you're adding people to. I've run into that issue where I've actually used smart plans for kind of one-off events. Where I'll add like a big group of people to like an event that I have coming up. Many of the agents at the Ridgefield Market Center on this call have received numerous smart plans of communications from me around things like Bold Pivot and around sales rallies and around things like that, because I'll create a smart plan to promote those events and then set it up for like a 1 week timeline where you'll get numerous texts and emails from me that are done automatically. So if you're doing those kind of things, you want to be careful. I've done some of those for recruits and I've learned the lesson the hard way, getting some angry text messages and responses from people that I don't know as well, and don't necessarily understand that there's an automated system that's doing this, that were all of a sudden I had them on 2 smart plans at the same time and they were getting duplicate, communications and it was a little overwhelming. So just be careful with that as well.
No, and I would add, smart plans can go for 90 days and then they can repeat. So they can be perpetual, or they can be, as Dan says, one-offs. And I'm going to talk just quickly about integration of the multiple applets. We had a step in our transaction process where we always thought we were communicating, here's what's going to happen now that you have an accepted offer. And it was about the inspection and what the seller had to do to prepare for the inspection, or what the buyer had to do to prepare for the inspection. Now we have a smart plan. It's one email. And in our opportunity, which is where we track our transactions, when we accept an offer, there's a task in the opportunity that says launch inspection preparation email. And so we go into the smart plans and launch that email for that person. But it's a completely integrated system now, and we don't miss it. It's like, how many years have I been trying to get that right?
Well, I think you said 30 before. With top producer, right? And so here's the good news, right? after 30 years of struggling with it, well, this system, right, because it's smart and integrated and customized to the business that the way you're looking to run your business, now you finally have that solved, right? What other things have you been struggling with for 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, a year, 15 minutes? And so just quickly zip around the 5 of you, if you would, who are using these smart plans, or 4 of you. It looks like Deb's on the phone. Just throw out a name of a specific smart plan. Like I'll start. A birthday smart plan, right? So there's a specific smart plan so that people can be wished happy birthday in your database. What other simple smart plans are you utilizing?
Facebook lead smart plan.
So a Facebook lead follow-up
Yes.
smart plan. Excellent. What else?
And I heard that they're gonna automate it, so once you get a lead, you can assign, and it's gonna be assigned automatically a smart plan. So you don't have to go and add it. I think that's work in progress.
That is really exciting, right? It's like when right now smart plans are only manual triggers, meaning you have to add people to smart plans, or a smart plan has to add them to a smart plan. But yeah, when all of a sudden the system can now start automatically adding people to stuff, is really that's where things like kind of take a whole new level. I love that. Good stuff, Bob.
Well, and to that, let's remember, if you're learning smart plans for the first time out now, here's what's fun, right? Until today, when you've decided to actually move yourself into learning and implementing smart plans, whenever we're on a phone call, on a Zoom call like this, or on a 9 o'clock, or on a whatever, and you hear somebody say, hey, really exciting news, they just released this portion of this, which makes this simpler and makes it far more powerful for your business. Well, now you can be excited about that too, right? If you've never moved forward into smart plans, well then the announcement that they're automating the Facebook ad campaigns into smart plans is like, well, okay, that doesn't really excite me very much, because it doesn't affect me. And part of what we're looking to accomplish in a classroom or one-on-one setting is to help each of you move step forward, so that you can be excited when these new things are announced, because they really do help you automate and be more efficient in your business. So I was zipping around the panelists to just kind of give an example of a specific smart plan. We have birthday smart plan. We have Facebook lead follow-up smart plan. What other smart plans are you using?
Home anniversary.
So home anniversary smart plans. What else?
Seller smart plans.
So seller smart plans. Talk a little bit about that, Deb. What does your seller smart plan look like?
Well, it starts out, hey, did you know? And it comes out about the lack of listings on the market. And I have a combination of texts and emails. And I didn't realize how many texts I was sending until I already have used up my 1,500 texts for the month. So, but I have a couple of hundred sellers that have been in my system for a while, some more current than others, but it makes it so much easier to reach out to them. And I do get a lot of responses.
So your seller smart plan is a lead follow-up and conversion smart plan for sellers.
Correct. And some of these leads have been in my system for a long time. They just have always thought it's been a buyer's market and they don't want to get involved. Now they're starting to hear more and I'm getting more response.
Got it. Now let's not forget that the last time we had this panel, Deb also was a part of that, and she was the one who had 4 closings booked in a 30-day period of time, based on some of these smart plan follow-up techniques, right? So when you hear her say that I have a seller plan that goes into my database to convert people, listen closely to that, because she's got I signed the checks to prove that she's doing it, right?
So, and Deb's talking about that as a seller follow-up plan. It could also be, it's related to your Facebook leads follow-up plan, right? So,
Right.
And I heard Nick Baldwin and Tristan, whatever his name is, talking today about internet lead follow-up. And we all know it's not instant. And what they say is it takes minimally 6 to 8 touches to convert an internet lead. And sometimes it's a matter of months of touches to convert those leads. And they were giving examples of people who had implemented programs like Deb is using over time. And, when you have 200, 300, 500 people, even 50 people that you've acquired from these campaigns, and you will, if you run campaigns consistently, you will have, I don't know, I've got like 350 leads in that bucket. The only way you can do it is automated. That's the only way you can keep up with that consistently. And they were talking about people who went in March and converted in November, but it was because their plan kept them in touch. And some of it seems repetitive. You've got to get out of your agent mind and into the consumer mind. They're going to just scroll through it until they're ready. You've got to be in front of them when they're ready. And that's the beauty of the plan.
So there's a question in the chat from Jacqueline. Can you use video? Can you embed video as well as email into the smart plans?
Mhm.
Yes, looks like we have a lot of nodding heads.
Yeah, you need to design the emails in order to do that. But yes, you can. That's actually a newer feature of Command. They just recently rolled that out within the past month or so, embedding video into emails. So yeah, that's a new feature that you can use, but you need to learn how to create the emails first. All right, because it's not the simple email that does it. It's the design, the HTML designed. So you need to learn how to build those emails first. And I'll just, since I'm unmuted, I actually created a smart plan that I'm using for recruits, as well as I realized I should start using this for our own agents as well, which is just a monthly call. And so it's super simple. There are some people that I have on a quarterly call plan, and then there are some people, some of my recruits, and then I'm going to also be adding our agents to that, so that it's super simple. It's how you systematize and make sure that you're not missing people, right? So making sure that I have a reminder in Command every 30 days to just touch base with everybody, and I'll space that out so that I only have so many of those each day, which I'm able to do in Command. Command allows me to limit how many people I'm reminded to call each day, so I can limit, and I'm going to limit it to 5, so that I don't get too many too many people added to that. And yeah, it's a 3-step smart plan. That's the beauty of it, right? Make a phone call, 30-day delay, repeat, unlimited. It's so simple, right? And no other system allows me to create that type of follow-up plan.
And what I would add to that is what we talked about last week on Command users, which is you develop your Command habits. And your Command habit is you open that, as Bogdan was saying, you open your dashboard every day, you look at your tasks, and you make sure you click on that notification bell, because there are going to be things that show up in the notification bell that may not show up in your email or your task list. So go through all of those daily. Your business is going to explode.
Yeah, I really kind of love that too, because I love not having to think about things, right? Like, I love to be able to just do things. Like the gym that I go there because I've continued. It's the only gym that I've gone to that I'm now going to. I'm coming up on my 2 years going to this gym. That's the longest I've ever gone to a gym consistently. And I do go consistently, and I love going there because I know I can show up in the morning. I don't know what I'm doing when I show up there, but I know A, it's going to be a great workout. B, it's going to be different than the day before. And C, like, I don't have to think about it. I'm going to be given, okay, here's the workout, and then I can just go do it, right? Command is kind of the same thing, but for my business. I can open it up in the morning. I know every morning I have 20 agents to call, like 20 recruits. All my follow-up is right there if there are people I need to follow up with. And now I'm adding my inside agents, right? My KW agents to check in on as well. So it's super simple. Here's the things that I need to do today. Here are the people I need to talk to. I don't have to think about it. And that's when you can start really getting things at operating at a high level, I think.
So let's, because I do want to make sure that we save time for Facebook ad campaigns as well. And because I know a lot of you are having success with that. There was a question also in the chat box. Can Deb Lammerhart share that seller follow-up smart plan? let's talk about the Smart Plan library. Who wants to give some insight as to what I'm talking about in terms of the Smart Plan library, about sharing things with each other and things of that nature?
So there's a preset library that's been there for a long time. And now any agent in the whole company can upload one of their smart plans or dozens of their smart plans that have been effective. And you can't take them and just use them, because usually they have
Name in 'em.
fields that are fields that are in there that aren't you. So you get to edit those. However, they're putting things in that have worked. And you also have an opportunity to not vote on them, but rate them. And you can see how many people have adopted them and how many people have endorsed them. And I'll warn you, that library is getting very deep, and you can search by topic. So you can sort out what it is you're looking for, but you can get lost in there too.
And you can search
So-
by creator too, I think, right?
Yes, you can do. Yep.
'Cause I think Marty
Some of the
Miller had
big-
it all
Some of
picked.
the big names, yes.
Yeah. So you don't have to sit there on the video, right? And like
Yeah.
do exactly what he does. You literally can go and download it, and then just wherever it says Marty Miller, put your name. That's it.
And Deb, you can upload yours for everybody in the world to have too.
Yes,
When I find the
please.
time, yes. No, that library is excellent though. And you can preview before you download it to your system so you don't get clogged up with things you aren't going to use.
Yeah, so that's awesome. And so recognize that there are so many opportunities for you if you don't want to custom build your own stuff, or if you do and you want some ideas about what other people are doing. That library, and again, that's not just your market center. That's the entire country, right? It's everybody on the planet who has done smart plans and are willing to share, pushing them out to the world so that you can take and customize. Right, that is the power of size and the power of a culture of sharing with one another. All right, so thank you for all those Smart Plan insights. I hope what the idea of today's Smart Plans conversation was to excite you enough, or at least make you curious enough, to book a one-on-one with some of our faculty, or to jump into the next Smart Plans class and learn how to start actually doing them. Or Google Smart Plans Marty Miller and watch a couple of Marty's videos on the topic if you're a tutorial do-it-yourselfer. Or enroll yourself in Nick Baldwin's Command Your Conversion 101 series that'll kind of walk you through with videos some of these basic strategies to get you to a place where now we can sit down with you for a one-on-one and really help you customize and utilize these things at a high level. So in our last 15 minutes or so, let's switch over to Facebook. Oh yes, thank you, Debbie. Nick Baldwin's 101 is a free system. So just go and Google Nick Baldwin Command Your Conversion 101 and click through that. You have to register, and then you have tons of videos to help you. His 201 is not free, but 101 is absolutely free. So talk a little bit, guys, about Facebook ad campaigns, how you're using them, what the results have been, tips and strategies. Again, with the idea of exciting people for that next step of learning how to do them.
I can start. In my case, what it works better are ads that have videos instead of the carousel photos. So I actually started 4 of them last week, and I got most of my leads for the one that has a video. It's a short video that I did with my drone, 15-second video, and at the end, click learn more. So they can go and give you that's what you want.
I have a question for you, Bogdan, on that.
Yes.
Because I tried to create a Facebook ad with the video a few times, but I kept getting this issue about the file being too large, and I ended up wasting too much time on it, and I was like, forget it. Like, I want to move on. But is it with the file size? Do you think it has more to do with the length of the video, or do you compress the video?
I don't like compressing. My video, I export them at 4K,
Uh-huh.
but because I keep them short, they usually don't go over 100, 150 megabytes. I don't
And
know.
what do you mean by define short?
I try not to go over 30 seconds.
Okay.
So, because
Like a teaser video, not like a video
you
you'd
don't
set
want
on.
to have a 2.5 minute video. Nobody's gonna stay and watch the whole video. It's just something quick, and you want them to click learn more, so you can capture their information, so you can call them and put them on a smart plan.
Okay.
But I purposely did this for one of them has video, and the other three have the carousel. And the one with the video gave me in the past 5 days 15 leads, and the other ones just 6, 1, and 1 nothing.
What kind of budget were you working with on those?
So I was working with $3 a day for
Wow.
5 days.
And all of them were the same budget?
Yes.
That's huge. I mean, that's 6 to 1, 6x is huge with the video. That's crazy.
So video is the future in advertising, or at least Facebook advertising. And I try, like I say, I try to keep them short, because people nowadays, they have a short time span, so they're not gonna watch a 2-minute video unless it's a tutorial or do it yourself, but not for real estate.
I would add another piece, which is you can do longer videos. You can do a thumbnail to tease somebody into it, but you can add as long a video as you want into a landing page and make the landing page your URL that you connect to your Facebook lead, your Facebook campaign. So you can get the whole range in there. That's another topic we're not going to get a chance to talk about today, but
That is correct.
Marissa, I received that error also, and I found if the video is under 59 seconds, it would typically load.
There you go. There you go.
But as soon as you break that time barrier, it
It's
would
over.
error. Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
So a couple of things to underline that Bogdan just said, because really important stuff, right? First, remember, just like we were having this conversation in Ignite the other night, the main idea of making outbound lead generation or lead follow-up phone calls is to do what?
at appointments.
Set an appointment, right? You're not listing a house on the telephone. You're not running these Facebook ads to have someone listen to your entire spiel. So short and sweet, you're looking for interest so that someone will click through to something, right? And so short is the path to that. And what I'm finding is that some people are going overboard with their ads. They're trying to make them far too detailed, far too specific, far too big, too long, too much information, right? Most of you are on Facebook. You know how you go through Facebook like this, right? So you have to remember your task is to stop the scroll. So with the videos and the information and the photos that you choose, if it's boring or ugly or not interesting, you're not stopping the scroll, which means you're not getting the eyeballs that you need for people to actually do some kind of a click through, right? So remember the goal. The goal isn't to list a house on Facebook. The goal is to capture somebody, which is the equivalent of setting that appointment. You need capture in terms of success there. The other thing that was said was $3 a day for 5 days. $3 a day for 5 days, and the one with the video produced so far 15 leads, right? Now here's what I want to be clear about. Some of you have already decided to judge the leads. And I'm going to tell you that that is a losing proposition in this conversation. You can't judge the leads. You just have to capture and collect them and then create a smart plan to follow up with them, right? You don't know whether they're good, bad, or in between when you capture them. And if you don't capture any, well then like the conversation's over. So the first step is all about capture and capturing at the highest rate possible based on the tips that you're hearing. Then we move to that smart plan piece to create the follow-up, which creates more capture over time. Do you get somebody who answers a Facebook ad that says, I want to go out in 2 weeks or next weekend and buy a house? Yes, we have had people have that happen. However, the ratios of that happening versus it not happening are similar to hosting open houses.
Mm-hmm.
Do you sometimes have someone walk into an open house and say, I have cash in the car, in the trunk, I want to buy this house? Well, yeah, sometimes that happens. However, more than likely, you're finding people who aren't going to buy that house, but want to connect with you for a longer experience to do something down the road. You have to look at it the same way and not bring judgment to the table when 17 people don't want to buy a house in 4 days after you run your Facebook ads.
And I will add, if you want to create success in this plan, it's a long-term plan. This is not a 15-minute plan. It's not a microwave. It's long-term. And it's committing to consistent posting on the Facebook campaigns over the course of 6 months, right? And here's what you see when you do that. You have repeats. You have people who respond to your ad in Westport and then they respond to your ad in New Fairfield. What the heck? What are they looking at? It doesn't matter. I had one of those who we've just listed her home in Ridgefield. Okay, that works. But
So that's called geographic averaging. Westport, New Fairfield, you get the business in Ridgefield.
So it's time on task over time and consistent appearances.
Love it. What else? What Deb, tell us what else about Facebook ads. How have you been successful?
I have been very successful with Facebook ads. I don't use a lot of video right now, but I have tried it. I average maybe 50 to 80 leads per 10-day time period. I do the recommended $30 for 10 days. I might do different areas, different custom areas at the same time. So run for around New Haven and for around Manhattan or something like that, just to see how those different areas respond to what I'm advertising. I usually advertise listings because that's what people are looking for and everything. I love the idea that I'm going to be able to put them on an automatic campaign because I spent hours doing that over the course of the 10 days. And if I miss a day, then I'm really in trouble. What I find too is, and I found this kind of by mistake, is if the ad really isn't getting as many leads as I think it should be, I can actually go in there and change the title and change the comment on it, which that has changed the lead numbers too. So I was not aware that you can't change the pictures or anything else, but I wasn't aware that you could change the name. So that was kind of cool. And that actually was where I started to see a lot of success with Facebook ads.
Yeah, that's a great tip, right? If you're not getting the leads that you expected from your ad, go in and change it up a little bit for the if time and see if a change starts to produce better, right? It's all about knowing the words to say, right? I'll tell you, one of the things that I learned at Mega Camp was, are we doing Facebook ads that talk about things like, digital purchasing, contactless, buyer's agents, and working some of those virtual words into our Facebook ads, because people are they want real estate information, and maybe some people are still a little standoffish on the in-person. And so if you're the one pushing out that you have a contact list or virtual or digital format to help them buy, sell, or create wealth by investing in real estate, you may get the click through that somebody else doesn't. What else, Marissa? What else are you seeing?
Well, outside of just, results and leads, it's helped me twice with asking my sellers for price reductions, because I'm able to say, like, hey, we've had, this number of showings. I've been advertising this property in a 30-mile radius for every single week that we've been on here. I've had this many people come in that say they're interested in it, and yet we're still not getting any offers, right? And I'm not sure how you argue with that. If nobody's said to me like, whoa, you're not in the New York Times, because I think generally now people appreciate the power of like Facebook and being advertising on the internet. And then the other perspective I have on it is just like market saturation, in that, when I sell something, I have a Facebook lead ad go out, and then I'm knocking on doors around it, and I'm calling the neighborhood around it. So if you're on Facebook and you're in the neighborhood that the house sold, you're probably going to see my ad, and then I'm going to knock on your door, and then you're going to get a phone call from me. And if you answer the door, you're also going to get a letter from me saying, thank you so much for talking to me when I came to your house. So just like over and over and over again, my goal is to saturate the neighborhood with my face and the success that I've had.
Wow.
Even if I don't get like a lead from the Facebook, that turns into a transaction. I think overall, just my face appearing everywhere is like incredible.
I wanted to add to the topic about New York Times, because all of the sellers have heard everybody's coming from New York, and some of them are still saying, well, what are you going to do about the Times? What are you going to do about any of the New York advertising? This is the answer, because you can target it so specifically. And oh, by the way, you can show them the results, and I can show them lots of money that has been spent in New York Times, even online advertising, that has come up with 0 results. And this gives you actual results. So it's hugely helpful.
Love it, love it, love it.
I also, when I go on to listing consultation, I might create, if I have some pictures from Zillow or whatever, I might create a dummy campaign ad. I'm not going to publish it, but at least I can bring it to the table and show it to the potential sellers. Here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to, choose this area or multiple areas, for example, their neighborhood or New York, or I guess Boston is they're closer to New Haven. So I go with a value proposition.
Yeah, so using it as a listing tool is what I'm hearing Bogdan say. So guys, we are just about out of time. I want if Marissa and Bogdan and Debbie and Deb can just give us a 10-second last piece of advice as we finish up today. I just wanted to remind people that the 4 people who have been talking to you today about how they're using the tools, one of the things that I get to do inside of our organization is track increased business. And the 4 people who you've heard the most from, I can tell you, have percentage increases in their businesses over the last few months that are outpacing the rest of the market center. And I think when you listen to what they're doing and how they're utilizing these tools, it's no wonder that they're seeing that they're outpacing many of the rest of the people in the market center in terms of increase in business year over year, 6 months over 6 months, because the things they're telling you are working, and the ideas, the way they're using some of these things are just so smart. Those last 2 comments by Marissa and Bogdan, I think, were worth the price of admission. How they're using it with their sellers, how they're using it to not only to help sellers make better decisions, but to as a listing tool as well, to earn more listing opportunities. Really smart stuff, really, really smart stuff, right? So recognize that the reason we bring you these smart people is because these smart people are not just book smart. they're doing the do, and they're putting it to putting the rubbers meeting the road with these ideas, and they're finding results, and it's turning into paychecks. So let's just zip around. Deb, you want to go first? Just a 10-second piece of advice for people with regards to what we talked about today, which is your CRM, your Smartplans, and your Facebook ads.
I think you gotta give yourself a chance to absorb everything. I talk to a lot of people that are overwhelmed. They just see too much. They see too many changes. This is an ongoing system that's going to continue to adjust depending on the market, depending on our responses to the system. It's never going to be static. So it isn't something you're going to learn and that's it, you move on. But it is providing you with a virtual assistant. I see the reminders every day as that, and I love it. I just, it's like I've got someone putting a list on my desk to go do. So I think you have to be open-minded, you have to be open to change, and it's going to be ongoing, but you don't have to use everything. You can use what you like about it. There are many, many success stories, but I think all being in one place and the ability to place ads that you're actually getting long-term leads from is amazing. I've got probably 1,000 new leads in my system just from the Facebook ads.
Wow.
So it's
Awesome.
phenomenal.
Very good. Very good. Thank you for that. Debbie, 10 seconds to you.
So my thought is this is the direction of real estate. And we have literally in the palm of our hands, our whole real estate business. I am literally carrying about 10 pounds less crap around with me right now because it's all in here. It really is. And the other piece is Keller Williams is not going to limit where this is going. This is, Deb said, it's going to be an ongoing learning experience, because if you can imagine it, you can make it happen in this system. And the abilities are going to continue to grow. You can just see it. It's not going to stop.
There you go. So it's good for your business and your back, is what I heard.
Yes.
Bogdan, 10 seconds to you.
Yeah, I'll be short. I put it in the chat. Command commands you.
There you go. If you let it.
Yes, of course.
Right? Command commands you. Now there's a man who knows what 10 seconds is all about. Marissa, bring us home.
The rest of us are women.
I would say just do it and don't let it be overwhelming to you. Think about whatever's hurting you the most in your business, and then take baby steps to figure it out. And little by little, you'll be like at least more comfortable with it, and you'll use that one tool, and then you'll use another tool, and you'll use another, and next thing you know, you're using it, no problem. You don't have to jump all in, just take a little bite.
There you go. Take a little bite. Guys, I hope this was helpful for you today to start hearing about some of these things. I would encourage you, get off this Zoom, go back to an email with the Calendly links for tech one-on-ones, and just sign up for one. What we do on the tail end is we look and we have instructors call you based on what you've said to really ask you some additional questions. We'll get to the real bottom of what it is you need, and we'll make some changes to your one-on-one in terms of instructors or whatever, to make sure that half hour is as powerful for you as you need it to be. So say yes to one of them, and then we'll figure out what that 30 minutes looks like, so we can push you along and get you on the path of using these tools. Have a great afternoon, Igniters. Remember, we're at 5 today, not 4. So Ignite starts at 5 today, not 4. We'll see you tomorrow for those of you who are not joining us for Ignite. Have a great afternoon, guys.
Thank you. Bye.